Alright, so I'm not sure if this is gonna be a series or whatever, but I just want to do a quick thing where I just talk about stuff. It could be anything really. Answering a question, giving advice, asking for advice, just whatever, right? As far as gameplay goes, it's really nothing special, just me in friendly mode jumping around a server. Just jumping around the map. Can I get a boarding pass on that one? We getting an in-flight meal because all I'm doing is fucking jumping around in a circle. Okay, seriously, I just needed to put something in the background, so whatever. In this video, I wanted to answer a really common question that I get asked all the time, and that is, how did you grow so quickly? How did you blow up? What's the secret? How do I do that as a smaller YouTuber? And unfortunately, I really can't give a definitive answer to that. I mean, it's clear that hat stereotypes was the reason my channel exploded. It was an idea that most TF2 players had thought about at some point, but nobody had made a video on. So that definitely contributed to it, but that on its own should never have made my channel blow up like it did. There was definitely something screwy going on in the YouTube algorithms that made it get suggested to everyone, and I don't know what that was specifically. So I don't have the answer to this question, sadly. But I do want to talk about something that I put a lot of time and effort into for my videos. I see a lot of smaller channels ignore this. Almost nobody thinks about it, and it's something that can make or break your channel, especially when first impressions are concerned. It's sound design. Now, that's not something that a lot of people think is important, but believe me when I say it is just as important, if not more, than the visuals and the stuff that you're seeing on screen. Then again, I'm a sound designer, so I'm probably super biased, but just let's take this hypothetical situation real quick. Say you find this new TF2ber, and he looks really promising at first glance. His icon looks good, his thumbnails are interesting and not too clickbaity, the titles make it seem like he's got really good content. So yeah, everything looks good, you're really excited. This could be a guy who's got tons of great content for you to watch. And you click on his video, and the first thing that you hear is some guy basically eating his blue snowball going, "How's it going, guys? Gamer got in right here." And you just nope out of there real quick. I mean, come on, you don't want to listen to that. Nobody does. Now, for all you know, this guy could be one of the funniest, most original content creators out there, but you're never gonna know about it because the sound design was shit and you clicked off the video before he even finished a sentence. Now, that's a bit of an extreme example, but it's happened to me on multiple occasions, and I bet it's happened to a lot of you too. Sound design really can make or break your videos, and it kind of sucks that you have to pay this much attention to it because your audience sure as hell isn't going to. The whole idea behind sound design is that you're not supposed to notice it. If you've done your job right, nobody's gonna know that you've done anything at all. See, at the end of the day, you need to make your video easy to watch and easy to listen to. Your audience is here for the TF2 content, but if your audio is bad, that breaks their immersion and makes them focus on it instead of the actual video, and that's really bad. So I'm just going to be giving a few tips on sound design that can really help you out. I want to focus on voiceover, since that's where I see the majority of problems lie, but if this video does well, I might do another video where I talk about the other tricks and editing techniques and stuff. So, voiceover. This is the part of the video that I see people put the least amount of time and effort into, and it's the first thing that would make me click off of a video. Now, in order to create a voiceover, you need a microphone. You probably need a good one. Well, not too good. See, here's the thing. YouTube compresses its audio in what's called a lossy format. It's a bit like a JPEG image. The file size is smaller, but the quality, the resolution, so to speak, is lower. And the data that you lose when you compress the audio is fairly similar to the data that gets lost when you record your voice on a more expensive microphone. It's the frequencies at the very low end and the very high end that get lost. So if you're just going to have a microphone for YouTube videos, you don't need to drop thousands of dollars on a microphone interface and all that stuff. The bigger YouTubers with more money to blow usually go with the Shure SM7B, which is a really solid dynamic microphone. A used one will usually set you back around $300, but you're also going to need an interface to plug into your computer because it uses an XLR connector. An entry-level interface is going to cost you another $100 to $150. And I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that most of you aren't willing to drop $400 on a microphone and interface. So for those of you wondering what microphone you can get on a budget, I just have one tip for you. Please, for the love of God, don't get a Yeti. Just don't. Stop it. Just stop it. Okay, so the Yeti is by no means a bad microphone, but it's also hilariously overpriced for the quality that you're getting. If you're willing to drop the money on a Yeti, you should get an Audio-Technica AT2020 instead. It costs about the same, and it blows the Yeti out of the water in terms of quality. It's a really solid condenser microphone that comes in USB or XLR, so if you don't want to drop the money on an interface, you can just stick with USB and be fine for the most part. That's going to get you a pretty good level of quality. Alright, so now you've got a microphone and it's all set up and ready to go, and you're ready to start recording your voice. Well, not exactly. You gotta make sure that your room is ready too. See, here's the thing. Your microphone is only as good as the room you record it in. Some rooms are super reverby. The sound waves coming out of your mouth actually bounce off the walls to your room and come back into the microphone, which isn't good for voiceover. Like, you can drop $3,000 on a U87, but if you record it in a room that's as big of an echo chamber as r/TF2, it's not gonna sound very good. If you've ever seen a behind-the-scenes video for a movie or an animation or something, and you see them recording voiceover with this stuff on the walls, well, that's what those are for. They dampen the echoes from the performer's voice so you get a drier signal into the microphone, and it sounds better and is easier to edit. Now, I'm not expecting... Oh, good. That's wonderful. They're testing my fire alarm right now. Oh, God, kill me now. Okay, cool. Great. Where was I? Now, I'm not expecting you to go and spend the money to soundproof your room. A good, quick, and easy solution to this is to put up blankets or mattress pads around your room. If you don't have enough to cover your whole room, just put it on the wall behind your microphone. That'll do the job just fine. Oh, and one more thing before you record. Try not to place your microphone right in front of your face. When you make pee noises, there's a lot of air coming out of your mouth, and if that gets into the mic, it makes a really nasty sound. Party, popsicle, explosive. Placing your mic to the side will help to reduce that. A pop filter can help as well, but mic placement is more important and it helps more. So, yeah. So now your mic is ready and your room is ready and you're going to start recording your voice. I see a lot of people recording their voice directly into their video editing software, and that's not a very good idea. You've got a lot less control over your audio going into a program like that. What I'd recommend is that you record your voice in a separate program. That way you can edit and process your voice to make it sound better after the fact. Now, lucky for you, there's a great program that you can use that's absolutely free. It's called Audacity. Solid program. Maybe a bit tricky to learn if you've never used a program like it before, but there are plenty of tutorials out there, so it's not a huge deal. Oh, and also, it's free. Did I mention that? So yeah, record your voice in Audacity. Oh, and quick tip to sync up your voice recording with your gameplay. When you start recording, count down from 3 to 1, and every time you say a number, fire your weapon in game. Then just line it up in whatever program you use to edit, and you're done. Now, when you start recording, you want to make sure that your input level on your microphone isn't too high. If you have too much sound going in at once, it starts to clip. Here's an example. My gain is too high. Now, you can always lower your volume while you're editing, like I did with that last clip. But if your voice clipped during the original recording, you can't fix that without some super fancy and expensive shit. Think of your sound like a piece of clay that you're holding in your hand. As you get louder, that hand raises up towards the ceiling, and if you hit the ceiling, the clay gets squashed. Now, you can bring your hand down from the ceiling after you do that, so the clay isn't technically touching the ceiling anymore, but it's still squashed. Right? To set the levels of your mic before recording, try making a test recording. In that test recording, you'll record your voice about as loud as you think you're going to get. So, getting dominated by a gibbous pyro who doesn't even know what game he's playing. Now, you want this loudest point to get pretty close to clipping, but not quite there. You can check to see if it's clipped by looking at this meter right here. If you see red, that means you clipped. Once you've done all this, that means you're all set to record. Just hit that button right there and go to town. Once you've recorded your voice, there's one more thing you need to do. Mixing. Now, when I say mixing, I'm talking about going through your recording and editing, correcting, or changing things about it to make it sound better. This can include things like EQ, compression, and other subtle effects, but it also includes getting rid of any undesirable sound. Things like mouth noises, loud breathing, etc., etc. I could probably make a whole nother video on this, but at the end of the day, mixing your voice is a process that's specific to, well, your own voice. I can't tell you exactly how to mix. That's something you gotta work with and find out for yourself. Just remember not to go overboard. Subtlety is key here. Remember, your audience isn't supposed to notice that you've done anything. I'll give you an example of my voice before and after mixing so you can get a general idea of my final product. I'm not exactly sure what I'm talking about, but I'm pretty sure it's for a Team Fortress 2 video. And remember, there's no set way to mix your voice either. If you listen closely to all my videos, you'll notice that my voice isn't always the same. I'm constantly experimenting with recording and mixing techniques to make everything sound better. Alright, so y'all are probably getting sick of listening to me talk about sound design. This is what I want to do for a living, so I totally nerd out about this stuff. Sorry. There's a lot more beyond voice recording that goes into the audio for my videos, and I might talk about it more at some point. But I really wanted to get this out because I see so many smaller YouTube channels basically kill their content because they don't put any effort into the audio. If you've got any questions about this, please feel free to ask either on this video or on Twitter or whatever. I'll do my best to answer them. But for right now, well, I gotta go work on weapon stereotypes.